No. Calling the meeting to order, 3:03. And we have remote participation. I need somebody.
I move that Ann Hemingway's request to attend today's meeting of the JMRL board remotely from North Carolina due to a personal matter, specifically travel, be approved.
All in favor?
Hi.
Hi. Welcome. Is it hot there too?
It's very hot.
The disposition of minutes from the previous meeting. They were sent out, and any questions, comments, or corrections?
I move that we approve the comments as written. Yeah. Of the minutes. I move that we approve the minutes as written.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Approve the minute. Any public, any announcements or public comment?
I have a few announcements.
Okay.
We have a moment. I wanted to introduce the board and say welcome to Zahara Kola, who is this year's JMRL NAACP intern. Zahara spent the summer at the Central Library working public service desks and getting familiar with library work. Zahara graduated from Charlottesville High School this spring and has been working on a passion project with young adult staff at JMRL to create a display to highlight test prep books, study guides, and college application resources in the teen area. So essays, financial aid, narrowing down, things like that for teens at the Central Library. So thank you, Zahara, for your work and welcome.
Yeah.
And I also want to welcome Maxwell Colvin, who's JMRL's new business manager. So Max joins JMRL from the world of banking, most recently a branch manager for Pioneer Bank in the Valley. Before that, sometime with Wells Fargo. He's active in the Rotary in the Valley and now lives full-time in the Charlottesville area. So welcome, Max.
Welcome, Max.
Anything you want to share, Max?
I asked Max if he'd ever been to the Northside Library before.
Yes.
Oh, I've been here once. It was in 2017. I was doing an audit repossession for a business in the area and needed internet. So came to the public library because mine was down.
Perfect.
Not really a happy story.
Oh, no, I think it is a happy
Yeah.
story. Because you had this
Good internet.
You're right on that outlook. It is a wonderful story. From business I was repossessing, not a wonderful story.
Public comments, any?
If anyone online would like to make a public comment, please use the Zoom raise hand function now. No public comment.
No. Okay. We'll go to trustee continuing education.
None this month. Next month, the board can expect to continue education about notary service at JMRL.
To be twice as long as normal, so.
Okay. Okay, we have our committee reports, nominating committee report.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah, and I don't,
Side of the table is kind of like.
yeah, I don't know exactly what the procedure is for this, but, basically, Brandy had said she was, interested in moving from vice president to president of the board. Martha was interested in being vice president of the board, and as far as I know, they're running unopposed, so I don't know what the procedure is for.
Is there anybody that really wants to put their hat in the?
I think you have an agenda item later for a vote. So people have until then to
So
Think
think
about it.
about it
Yeah.
and weigh their options.
Okay. Okay, so right now we have. Policy committee report.
Okay, we have a complicated one today. And it's gonna involve, I think, David flipping through a number of browser tabs.
A lot of stuff crossed out.
A lot of stuff crossed out, which I know Tony is licking his chops for.
Punctuation alert.
So there's a series of current policies, which are pages 5 through 11 or 5 through 12 in your handout packet. And they're all sort of grouped together sort of thematically as related to governance and how does the board itself conduct meetings and so. And a lot of them are we'll go through them kind of one by one briefly, but some of them are very prescriptive and a little bit verbose. More information than is purely necessary. So what the committee did was look at each one of those, extract and identify the essential parts of each of those current policies that needed to be kept both for our own purposes and to explain to the public various procedures of operations of the boards. And we've consolidated those into one new recommended draft. So all the crossouts are essentially all of these 5 will go away and be replaced with 1 now. And I think, how do I want to, I had a plan for how I want to do this, but now I'm blanking. I think here's what I'd like to do. So David, we'll go one by one through the existing policies.
Okay.
Let's explain the scope of what they are and just show you which bullets were retained. I'm not going to go through every bullet that's every diff. You'd have the opportunity to do that, this past week and in the upcoming month. Now that you've got this context, but there's an existing policy 1.2 was only a table of contents. We don't need that table of contents because we have within the policy manual on the website, there's a table of contents page, which is not itself necessarily a policy. So this will all go away. And we're reusing this number, essentially 1.2 for the new draft. Okay, so if we continue to.
That's redundant.
Redundant or, we just use that place, that slot. Right. Okay, the current policy 1.22 talks about Board of Trustees goals and planning. Essentially, all of this, it's a 1-sentence policy, and essentially all of it was carried over into the new draft. Okay, so next, procedures. Essentially, this current policy talks, the most important part of this is that we use the procedure for small boards, and we're recommending to just keep that. Then we've highlighted, this policy basically highlights various aspects of that more detailed manual, and we've carried forward that approach of highlighting certain key points, but we didn't carry forward all of these. So if we look, maybe we will look at these bullets, David, within the new draft. The key bullets that came out that the policy committee identified that we wanted to kind of be explicit about communicating or calling out just turned into one sentence. Draft, consolidated draft.
And can we note, Mike, that the policy committee today slightly tweaked the wording from what's in your handouts where it read, which means members don't need to obtain the floor, to say which includes that members don't need to obtain the floor, et cetera, just to show that this is not an inclusive list.
Right. So the red is a change from what you've seen in advance with the handout. Okay. The next, that was minutes.
Brandy, you'll be glad to know we're striking the chair need not rise while putting questions to vote.
Okay. The current policy, so we have in 2023, a couple of years ago, the policy committee reviewed the public comments at board meetings, and we put some ground rules for how that would proceed during our normal public comment period at a board meeting. We also have the option to essentially call a separate board meeting if there's some topic where we wanted to have a board meeting just to discuss some particular topic, and that's called a public hearing. Essentially, and so there's a separate policy for public hearings, and they had some sort of parallel ground rules for how that meeting is conducted. Some were similar to the public comment at board meetings, some were a little bit contradictory. What we've done with this is taken all of this and consolidated it down into the existing public comments policy. So you have to pull that one open if you can. This is not part of your handouts because we just wordsmithed this today.
It was part, but it was just the two back to back, basically.
Yeah, right. So the public comments is this, again, this is not a new policy, but it's being, the recommendation is to update the public comments by pulling in portions of public hearings at the end of this. So if we go down, so we've taken out the board may hold public hearings because it just becomes at the bottom. These were the essential points from the public hearing. So it still tells the board and the public that if the board wanted to have a special separate meeting that's now going to be called a public hearing to discuss some particular topic of interest, we can still do that. And the key point here is that the last sentence here, the key point is that we're not inventing a new ground rules for how things will be conducted during the public hearing. We just use the same procedures that we already have for regular library board meetings. Any questions about that? It's a little bit complicated. So when I said we're consolidating, we're actually consolidating the 5 that are being deprecated. Most of them go into one, but part one of those goes into this second. Okay. And then for changes to the policy manual was minutes. I'm sorry. Yep. This is similar. This is the current policy. Similarly, is pretty prescriptive about things that come from mostly from the Roberts rules. And we thought we were able to really consolidate that down into a smaller set of bullet points, which you see here on the center of the new draft. And these were kind of the essential points. We follow Robert's Rules of Order, but here, and then the draft, the goal of 7 days comes from existing FOIA law. And then we've tried to codify some of our existing practices about the minutes reporter from staff. And again, meeting minutes have to be approved, and that's also Robert's Rule of Order. Should those be Robert's Rule of Order small? Or do we need to, now that I'm reading this, do we need to specify small?
It does up on the top. The library board uses Robert's rules for small boards.
Yeah, but then it says Robert's Rules of Order down here. Could that be misconstrued as the real full document?
There.
Oh.
I've noticed something up above we need to address too.
Okay.
So
Before you do that, the first bullet under minutes would also have the small boards.
So there are more policies than this for the board.
Correct.
So by crossing these out, you're not saying that we're getting rid of all these. I imagine there's another policy that says the makeup of the board, how you
bylaws.
bylaws. So, but it's all crossed out on this, but it still exists. It just
Yeah, no, we're not
doesn't need
deleting all the policies in that table of contents. We're just deleting the
Table of contents. Got it.
Yeah, good
Good
question.
question.
Yes, so the bylaws cover, and there are others, including bylaws that.
That'll be a separate.
There's a policy, there's a committee's policy, which I think that's not part of the bylaws.
Yeah.
That's not going away. Only these specific ones
Sorry,
are being
independent.
consolidated
Okay,
into 2. Okay, David, what were you?
Well, first I'll also point out, Mike, maybe you were getting here, but the intro policy, the intro to this new policy includes some of that, saying like go to that the board uses a set of bylaws. There's a regional agreement, those types of other.
Okay, great.
2 things, Mike. One, just to mention that we did add all new, saying that generally the meetings are recorded and made available. That wasn't previously in any of those. And then also we have to change this now. When it wishes to seek public input on a specific topic, the Board of Trustees may hold public hearings as guided by JMRL policy. So that will instead be, in
You
theory.
can just strike it because it's covered.
Oh, no, we did it. 1.261. Never mind. That's already all. That's the comments policy. So it's already pointing to the comments policy.
What about, oh, made available for public viewing, so not to say that there's a Zoom link ahead of time that you can participate. A bit different,
Yeah, this doesn't address that.
that you can attend or you could participate via Zoom, I mean, I don't know.
So the question would be, would we want to require that by policy, or just, we're doing it currently as a practice, but we haven't told ourselves we have to do that.
Yeah.
But you might want to, since we're doing it, this might be a place where the public would know about that opportunity.
So we're not required to?
No.
Right, stop recording.
It says generally.
Generally, because don't
So-
you have all the Zoom links available.
Yeah, and they go out with the agenda. I mean, I think we
just
could
assumed it
add
was I just assumed it was our,
requirement. Now, we've been doing it since COVID. It's best practices, I think, at this point. It wouldn't surprise me if in the future state law would change to reflect that, but right now it's not required.
but I mean, it does say that it's open. The meetings are
Well-
open to the public. They are. That's in the beginning, I'm sorry, everything keeps scrolling up and down.
Yeah.
Maybe I should look at the page, but I know you did revise it.
That would be in a different place unless it's
Okay.
in the public comment about how the meetings themselves are conducted, and which is not one of the 5 ones that we're ended up consolidating, I don't think.
I mean, if this policy is taking, this part of it is about board organization, like how is the board organized? So certainly if the board wants to add something here, now's the time to say all, any board meeting with three or more trustees is a public meeting. I mean, it says we follow FOIA law, which says all that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't expect our average person to know
What
FOIA.
a law is. I was just curious if maybe that, if that was something that said somewhere else, maybe that bullet point goes over there rather than here.
That's the organization of the board rather than the meeting itself, like.
Right, so I'm thinking maybe that bullet belongs somewhere else then, because it's not really. I don't know. Unless you want to know how they're, I mean, I don't know.
This one about recording, like that could go under minutes. It's more closely aligned with minutes than it is.
It's just a question that I have, because I would assume that it would go with sort of like, if you wanted to make your feelings known about something, this is how you find out how to attend a board meeting, and you could go online and you could watch it live if you're not able to attend in person. I don't know.
So that definitely isn't covered anywhere because, as David pointed out, it's a new practice. I kind of think this might not hurt if we can find a few words to put into are recorded. So this,
Live streamed and recorded.
yeah, live streamed.
Maybe the
Right.
technology will change.
Yeah.
I was gonna say public comment that references the other policies being done, and then talks about there is a point where you ask and where it's made available during the meeting.
Right, but that's the legacy aspect of that is if you show up at the meeting, you can do it.
Right, but you're not knowing that if you're on Zoom, you
Right.
can raise your
Right.
hand.
I think that's the
and ask
new-
question.
So should we say public viewing? Yeah, I think, what do you think there here, Meredith? Does that cover it? If it's a live stream, or you could say public viewing and participation.
Yeah, I guess the question I have is like, so the mechanism right now that you're doing where you have our underboard, you have all of our meetings listed and where they are and what time they are, and then you put in a Zoom link, that's not anything in our policy, that's just.
No, I don't
Good
think,
neighbor.
I think our policies predate that practice. So if we wanted to codify, this is as good a place as any to codify.
It's been 6 years, so I'm guessing it's not gonna change significantly, so.
So I would think we could add something here that just says, well, this says that they're
Links
generally.
Live
Live
and
stream.
locations are available.
Yeah, David, can I I mean, I
And-
think what Meredith, I think Meredith makes a good point, is that
Yeah.
we talk about these open meetings and that the public can participate. But I think, Meredith, what you're saying is that we're not guiding them adequately on how they can participate. Is that right? So it would just be one more bullet point, really. Am I understanding the issue?
Think so. I think that we're doing something pretty nice for people.
Yeah.
And people aren't really coming week after week. So if they have a concern that they wanted to bring up, they're not bringing it to our meeting.
And because, live streaming is relatively recent in the last couple of years, I think this is a good time to make that clear that they're invited to come join by Zoom if they want to.
It is true when there was a need, lots of people figured it out.
That didn't seem to be a problem.
So-
And I'm still angling for less than 5 minutes on the comment.
So we'll definitely, we can add something. Would you like to try and wordsmith it right now or take it back to the committee and have the committee come back with a vote? So really up to you, Alina.
Yeah, something that,
I think the gist of what you're looking for is for us to say, all meetings are open to the public. Yes.
Either in person or
Either in person. Like there is, I should say that there is a clause in your remote participation that does allow for like once a year or twice a year to have an all virtual meeting. So you wouldn't want to say here necessarily that all meetings capacity, because there may be
there may be, right, occasionally I think
They're all
committee
open.
meeting will be occasionally.
Yeah, the full board can, per state law, have, it's like, I forget what the thing is, but it's like once a year you can.
You've never told us.
That's a good policy. So I just would caution against saying we're always gonna have it in person, because there might be a scenario which there's not. There might also be a closed session in which the public is not available, but I think if the goal is to say all open board sessions are available for the public to attend, something like that. Is that kind of?
Well,
That sounds like a good effect.
But I think what I was hearing was also she wanted to emphasize or surface the possibility of participating remotely for the public to
Yes,
participate remotely. Yeah, my suggestion would be, I think this sounds great. Let's just
Look at it later.
work with it in the committee meeting. That does mean it's going to be 3 months before you see we're able to pass this. So we can.
well,
certainly apply for it right now.
when you're doing that too, because we meet, but we don't meet here all the time. So wouldn't they need to know where we're gonna be?
The calendar is public.
The agenda tells you at the top where we're meeting.
I think what I was angling for as well is just like a location. If it was a codified location, like under boards, under schedule, I don't know. I mean, I can find it, but I can't tell you right off the top of my head where it is, but just that it is available to make it as easy as possible for people to find.
I mean, I will observe there is existing law about how we're required to announce meetings. We do more than what the existing law is, but there is a floor, requirement that we have to follow in any case. Okay, if everyone's willing to wait 3 months, we can I think these are great issues, and we can talk about it in committee.
If we're changing our policies, really, you're just condensing them.
Yeah.
So I don't.
I think we can wait 3 months.
Yeah.
So the note I'm saying is at a point
2 months.
saying the meetings are open to the public and that location information is shared in advance. Like, yeah, we're required by law to post an agenda that says where they are beforehand.
Also, I mean, I guess the whole streaming thing of the link is there and the public can participate electronically if there's a link available. I don't know how you would want to say that.
So a point of order question here. Do we really need to wait 3 months, or if the board has 2
It
months?
would be 2 months. The policy meets again. That would.
Yeah,
first
you're
first
right.
step it.
Yeah.
Well, it just also mean that this is a first reading of this policy, and there's gonna be a second reading next month, and if the policy committee can virtually get
Yeah,
a
we-
draft out for the board, that
Yeah, then
have
we-
one different
Yeah.
sentence, is it enough of a substantial change that would require a new first reading? Or
I
is
don't
it-
think so, because we do.
So I think it could still be read next month.
That's fine. Yeah, I was thinking more about when the next regular policy committee meeting would happen, but we can, for a one sentence thing, we can probably.
Yeah, I think we can handle that.
She says from the beach.
You can do anything on the beach, right?
The one comment I would have, Meredith, is from a policy standpoint, I want to be careful not to be too prescriptive about, you must have a website and it must have these, elements and so forth. It's more of a high level goal, and let the operationally, implement that to make sure that the guidance is followed.
Right, I guess it's just sort of like, it seems like our site has certain
Convention.
conventions,
Yeah.
and it's just letting people know
Yeah.
sort of approximately where you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point I was making too about, like.
That'd be on the
there-
calendar.
There is a chance that we would have a meeting that didn't have an in-person component, so we wouldn't want to say all meetings, but we can come up with some language, I think, that would, yeah.
Okay, great feedback.
Thank you.
And so we are, let's see, we looked at,
We're on the meeting.
yeah, we did not finish with, I think we finished with the minutes policy, and then we're at the next one after that, David, which is the, yeah, 128. Okay, so again, these were, slightly different in some ways from current practice, but these have been consolidated. The key points here, consolidated into the draft. I'll show us the section for that. No, we're in this below that. Flows over 2 pages. So these 3 bullets are sort of the consolidation of the previous 7 bullets in the current policy. And then again, for first reading policy purposes, there's one, the red has been added since the handout. And I think that is it, if I didn't manage to totally confuse everyone.
Still efficient.
Ah,
Wonder if there's still important additions
Right.
happening.
that was in the current, you're saying?
In the current,
Yeah, not the new.
The new one should say the most recent.
years ago said newly revised, the
Yeah,
11th edition. Well, now, the 12th, in 10 years, they've moved up 1 edition. Well, it's not bad. Perhaps it covers soon.
We'll have to read it to find out.
We'll have to read it to find out exactly.
Sure.
Well, thank you for condensing it for all of us.
Whole business.
Covered number 1.
We have. And policy, no, that's part of it. Okay. The budget adoption.
Somebody was fading.
So the full budget is in your handouts. It's been available on JMRL's webpage. All 5 jurisdictional budgets are passed and in. This version that you have in front of you is the final version that includes the equipment budget that was by the finance committee last month. So I've been living with this since November. Now's the time. Just start again. I've already started.
Already started.
I'm happy if there are any questions about the contents of the proposed budget. It's a great time for that. Otherwise, you're
Looking for a motion.
Forever hold your peace.
One last point, sorry. So the only remaining bit out there is that the state still has not quite finalized their fiscal year 27 budget, which includes what level of support there will be for state aid, so that there's a chance that in the next few weeks that might change. I believe that the proposal they're talking about now is the state Senate's proposal, which includes more money for state aid than last year, which is good in both years of the biennium, and it would leave us, it would be $1 million extra this year, $1 million extra the next year, not for JMRL, but the entire state. And then it would leave it only $1 million off of full funding too. So there might be a time in the next few months where Max and I will have to come to you and ask for you to have a motion to revise that based on the new figures, but that's what we have to.
How do you want us to do our motion?
To accept the.
Move to accept the adopted fiscal year 2027 budget.
As it is before us.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
This is the.
That's the one I was telling you we needed a quorum for.
Updated policy 4.25.
Okay, so I will point out that this is one of a few schedules that JMRL has that are policies, but they don't go through the policy committee. They come straight to the full board. So high loading meeting controls. So what we're looking at here is the fines. What is the actual title? The budget is very long. Thank you, Brandy. Page 39. It's policy 4.225, circulation fines and fees. So this is a major change from past versions of this because it removes most overdue fines here. I did get a request from staff late in the day here to tweak. Oh, I'm never going to find it. Yay. Well, let's start at the top and I'll show you what the tweak was. So effectively this is largely the work of Brittany Eversberg, circulation manager for JMRL, who's been working on the fine-free JMRL, since the board voted last September. We are leaving the remaining overdue fines here. So these are the items that are still going to be overdue. Staff has prepared some other information about this for people checking out at the circulation desks. Interlibrary loans and wireless hotspots still collect overdue fines. 7-day loan bestsellers. Some information about maximum overdue fines for ILLs are. Library kits, which is a category of items, which basically you get a bag with a bunch of things in them, and museum and state park passes. So those are the remaining categories that as of right now, staff is recommending to the board, we continue to charge overdue fines. And I'm happy to answer a question about any of what those are or why those are still in.
Okay, there are maximum. No, down.
For overdues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at some point something becomes billed, and what we're charging is the replacement cost for it. So that's the next section, replacing lost or damaged materials. Yeah, we charge a $5 fee plus either the list price or if we have the exact price.
So, but if I had, because I think there used to be a max, I think is what you're asking. So if I had a 7-day loan and I kept it for 4 weeks and then brought it back and it didn't get billed, I have 3 weeks worth of 50 cents. There's not a cap on that. Or what would be my cap?
Do we hold your card?
Yeah, we would definitely do that. Let me find the language on the current policy. What did I say? 4 . 4 . 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. These maximum fines per item. So yeah, I think we could reinstate the maximum fine per item at $10. And the second one is already on there, the interlibrary loans. This last one's no longer applicable. So it'd be re-adding the maximum fine per item.
But I don't think I agree because there are overdue fines for 7-day books and others. But there,
For this last one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Check out multiple 7 days.
yeah.
Right, if you had 10 of them and they were all a month late. So, this is gonna look terrible, I promise.
Very nice vacation.
On a cruise ship for 10 days.
That's not too bad. Which one? Thank you. We
We
will,
delete the top one, right? Because that puts all the maximums
yeah,
together.
thank you. And let's put a little $sign. Okay, thank you. Good catch. Let's do. As Brandy said, these are the lost or damaged materials costs. There's no changes here. This is the same as it has been historically.
And we don't list hardbound books because those are
Might
be more
list
expensive
price.
than others.
Yeah. Most materials list price is what we said in the past.
In materials. Oh, no, that's.
Oh, our list price.
No.
So you said right underneath it.
Oh, yeah.
Their list price. Okay, sorry.
So that's what we tracked it on.
Makes sense.
Okay, and then a few notes there, including the cost for out of area cards, $30. Here's the one that staff were asking about today. So remote orders for 3D printing service fee to offset costs is 10 cents per gram. On-site and program-related 3D printing is free of charge. They wanted to strike that line because it kind of can depend on the program and what's happening there. Any objections? Thoughts? So I will.
D is really a capital D,
It can't be.
but it doesn't have to be. Yeah.
ILL fees is $3. Most materials circulate for 3 weeks, except for the 7-day loan bestsellers, which go out for 1 week. No changes there. 6 weeks for the book club kits. Materials may be renewed twice unless there's outstanding holds. Total of 75 items per card. 10 of those can be DVDs.
Aren't items able to be renewed 3 times? No, but sorry.
You can have a total of 3 times. Yeah. Got it. I knew where you're coming from.
Don't put it in.
Once I said it was like,
Don't put it in the policy that if you bring it in person and no one's got it on hold, they'll let you check it out.
Or don't say that.
That's
Additional fees may be charged for loss or damage of in-house and special items, meeting room keys, library things, just things that are not really part of the schedule. So this is kind of the last step for the board on following up from your September vote on going fine free and just setting this schedule for here's what we're gonna do for next year.
For this year, next fiscal year. You mean.
Next fiscal year, yes. Starting July 1.
It works.
Do it.
need a motion.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go. So I
think you should go.
do I reference the policy section or just the title of the thing, or does it not matter? So I move that we accept circulation fines and fees effective July 1, 2026 as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Forgot she was over there. On the beach. Let's see. Pay scale. updated JMRL pay scale adoption.
So this would be starting on page 40 of your handout. And this is just the update to the pay scale, which goes up 5% across the board with the fiscal year 27 budget, which you've already passed.
So we have to pass this too, if we've already passed the budget.
Yeah, I think
And
this
it's
is
included in
a
the
separate
budget.
thing. This
Oh,
is
okay.
included in the budget, but you're setting for library staff here, so the pay scale.
Okay.
And just a little color, please, on how this came to be. It would come through a personnel committee.
Yeah, so this is last year's pay scale with a 5% increment for every point along there. And it came through the personnel committee's recommendations to the budget committee, which were recommended to the full board, which then worked them into the budget that was then just passed.
I move that we adopt the Jefferson Madison Regional Library pay scale as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It is passed. And accepted. New business. Fine Free Public Relations Program.
Okay, that's for me. The board had asked me to give an update on what JMRL's activities have been to let the public know about our move towards the Fine Free Library on July 1. So I've just verbally got some information for you. Here's one dirty secret. The changes were actually made on June 10th because the way that the library system software works is they get applied on checkout. So we actually did all the behind the scenes, making all the changes. Anything that checked out after June 10th no longer gets fines, because otherwise it would be July 1st and be checking things out. But everything that was due at the end of June would still have overdue fines, and it was just going to be a lot of work for frontline staff. It's still going to be a lot of work for frontline staff to kind of waive fines and explain scenarios. But so those loan rules were applied on June 1st. On June 10th. And we followed that change up with an FAQ and messaging out for staff first. So here are the anticipated questions that you might get from members of the public. Here are the responses. And a lot of that was pulled from work that the working group did last year. Dylan then filmed an informational video intended for public use, released a press release that was coincided with a pre-scheduled appearance on Channel 29's Community Conversations, which JMRL does semi-regularly. We use the city of Charlottesville stop there, so a few times a year, either myself or staff will go to talk about some initiative. So that was on June 11th. Press release went out. I went on TV to talk about it. Instagram and Facebook posts went out that same morning. A slide went up on JMRL's homepage. A blog post went live with the summary of the decision making, like here's how the board got to this decision, a frequently asked questions for the public, and a link to that video explanation. Signage for the staff and the public was made about exemptions, the ones that we just talked about here in interlibrary loans, things like that. Press release was picked up and covered by both the local Charlottesville news stations. They interviewed me and ran news stories. There was an article in the Daily Progress, an article in the Central Virginian in Louisa. The social media content was shared and reposted from a bunch of radio stations, including 106.1 The Corner, 92.7 Sevo Country, a few others. Dylan is coordinating an appearance on 106.1 to coincide with a bookmobile visit to the Blue Ridge Health District on Thursday. Sevo Weekly interviewed me last week for an upcoming article that they're putting out. So the response so far has been largely positive, lots of likes on the Facebook posts, no negativity or questions yet, but of course this hasn't actually impacted anyone's daily usage at this point. So we'll see after July 1, what kind of feedback we get there. So the upcoming plan, this news gets the top feature on the monthly regional newsletter that will go out at the end of June, featured on all the branch newsletters going out in July. Messaging will get added to all the library's automated notices. So when you have a hold ready to pick up or your items are coming up due, there'll be, I think it still says auto renewals right now, which was the big change from last year. So that will change to be fine for JMRL. And more concentrated social media in July. Dylan says he's looking for like how's it going type content, like talking to users and either realize for the first time when they're returning something late, or just can tell stories to JMRL about how it's going. Is that kind of what you were looking for, Peter?
Yeah, that's
about
great.
how it's going.
Yeah, it's
so,
great.
Uh,
And I saw you on TV.
oh, great. When my cowlick was up. Yeah, so a lot of good coverage, a lot of positive news stories, and I'll report back to the board as we start to get responses to the actual change. The one that kind of went most in depth that I'm interested in seeing is the CBO Weekly, where I talked a lot about the working group and the metrics that have been put together and going back and looking at those moving forward, but who knows how much of that will actually end up. Depends on what kind of news day it is when they're putting the paper out. That's it.
Okay, thank you. And you can continue with, okay, directors prioritize goals next year.
Okay. So these are, I think, the very last page of your 42-page handouts. 3 goals that I'm proposing. These are the 3 things that I'm going to be working on. Continue to work on advancing JMRL's compensation plan with the cooperation of JMRL's funding partners. The top goal, lead JMRL's participation in the Central Library renovation, architecture, and engineering project, which is due to start in fiscal year 27, and plan to replace JMRL's bookmobile.
There's
Some
dot,
reason.
dot.
And many dots on it.
We did 1 or 3.
That was spent.
Yeah.
Anything else that the board,
Yeah, so one thing that I would just like to raise for consideration is this has come up in the technology committee meetings, and I've brought it up at the board meetings as well. Just that there's this tension where, you know, there's a potential sort of bottleneck in the technology department around there, right? We tried to sort of add some staffing to that and weren't successful, and it feels like there's still a kind of a shortage in terms of staff and a potential single point of failure. And I know that there's been some things to address that, but to me, that as far as I've seen, that the concerns around having enough staff and not only to sort of keep things running, right? And there's the sort of concerns around security, for instance, if something gets hacked, to keep things running, but also to be sort of investing in learning during this period where AI is like making a lot of changes. So I'd like to hear back from you, David, just in terms of like, is that, are the concerns that have been raised around technology and that what we tried to address with staffing, and just because it wasn't funded, we weren't able to. To me, that is possibly worthy of a goal, of sort of trying to address that issue, and sort of having the board sort of continue to pay attention to that. But I'd be interested in your thoughts around that topic.
What would the goal say? What is the goal?
I think it'd be kind of high level to improve our robustness within the staffing of our IT. IT is a critical function, and we keep talking about there's we're not competitive. We don't have competitive pay. I mean, we lost a key staff member because our pay wasn't competitive, and that was a single kind of point of failure. And there's only so it's improve robustness of our staffing of our IT function, I think might be a way to say.
So a couple things there.
Yeah.
One, the pay issue is not strictly in that band and stage. It's the entire pay scale, which is why that's the top of the list there. So yes, this is an issue, but pretty much at every other band and stage, it's also an issue.
So, but I would frame that as that's a condition, a circumstance that we have to work with.
Yeah.
Given that circumstance, we're asking you to perhaps to think about how can we address the circumstance to have more robustness in what we have with our staff availability. I could start listing out brainstorms, but the goal would be framed as we want you to think of the brainstorms and kind of pay attention to that, to the issue some way.
It feels, I mean, you know, you may have a different perspective, but it feels to me like technology is unique in the sense that, so first of all, the pay gaps are even bigger than in other, you know, sort of departments or positions. And that single point of failure is kind of unique to technology in the sense that like one thing can go down and in many ways, the entire library across the whole region is shut down, right? Like this stuff, it ceases to be functional for people across the entire region. And so, right, that's why concerns, I mean, right, and I mentioned AI before in one context, but like AI is poised to dramatically increase the risks around security and being hacked, right? Like it's creating national news of you know, like the government just banned, you know, the latest version of Claude for that reason. So, you know, it feels like the making sure that the technology function is like staffed at a level that, you know, that we feel comfortable, you know, that where, you know, to use Mike's word, there's this robustness seems like a priority. And again, this came out of conversations at the technology committee where we're hearing library staff, you know, voice concerns about, you know, there's a huge volume of work and there's a sort of a tightness there. You know, like, so we're somewhat turning that back around to say, let's do something about that. But some of this happened at the point where we didn't have a technology director. So maybe you're feeling more comfortable. I mean,
Also, the board is not hearing from the circulation committee.
Yeah.
Or the courier committee or the other positions that would make the same argument. Same with the courier position where we only had one guy there, you know, and if that goes down, there's no regional library system. So it's a systemic issue.
Yeah.
Across the board, and yes, we're seeing the you know, the flag is raised in IT, but it's not unique in that fashion. So I'm happy to add whatever goal the board thinks is suitable here. But if it's we need more money for more positions, I can't be held responsible for that when the board and I need to take that to our funding jurisdictions and get approval.
Yeah, I hear you, and I don't want to create an imbalance by sort of over focusing on one piece of the puzzle.
Well, I agree with you that it's a problem.
Yeah.
But it's a problem, as David says, system-wide.
Yeah.
You don't pay them. I mean, to retain employees, to hire new employees, IT courier, you know, both ends of the scale. Now, the IT roadmap for hiring is very different than it was 4 years ago. Okay, when jobs were going begging and you could write your own ticket wherever you wanted. Okay. Now that I'm retired, I can say this. It's not that anymore. I'm not saying that we're all of a sudden going to have a huge influx of IT folks coming in because, you know, we're all of a sudden paying decently. I don't think that's true. But I honestly don't think that singling it out is going to do anything for us. I really don't.
Well, I don't want to minimize these concerns. I'm happy to put something here. I just want it to be something that's measurable, that next year when we're talking about it, it's clear whether or not what the board was looking for was accomplished.
More of like a AI sort of technology plan for David to sort of like spearhead something. I mean, like, I don't know, like, cause it's like, we don't know where these things are gonna come. And it seems like every month there's a different twist and turn.
No, I think for me, there's two connected issues. One is just and I do think that some of this has changed just in the last 6 months, right? Because we now have a nice technology director in place that we didn't a few months ago. You know, to Tony's point, right? The tech market has slackened from where it was even 6 months ago. But it really comes from 2 points. One was just this feeling of tightness in the staffing, and connected to that from my perspective is just like the catalog going down, you know, security breaches, like concerns around that. And, you know, maybe we can just, I mean, right, maybe for instance, we could have a continuing education session around this sort of security and backups, and just sort of to kind of have the board be a little bit more informed on, you know, how safe are we feeling around, you know, the stability and, you know, privacy issues.
Because we're talking about a lot of different things too, most of which we're relying on. It's not internal security.
Right.
We're relying on somebody's extra. We're relying on Google. We're
Yeah.
relying on City of Charlottesville's IT department. We're relying on, you know, AWS
Yeah.
somewhere. So.
Yeah. So, you know, maybe this doesn't need to be a goal here. It's just something, you know.
Well, I don't want to not address, you know, something
Right.
that the board wants to address here. I just want to make sure that it's something that next year we can say like, yeah, that was.
David, can I,
Asking for more people.
Go ahead, Ann.
Yeah.
the other thing we talked about, and I don't know how to, you know, articulate this as a goal, but is just the impact AI is having on JMRL, and how we're going to handle that in the future. I mean, we had a continuing ed about that, I don't know, maybe a year ago, and things are completely different now. I mean, it's just upon us. And I know just in the legal profession just was really hit hard with AI and has been unprepared on how to handle it. It's really affected the quality of work, you know, briefs that are before the court, you know, lawyers are getting sanctioned all over the country right now for misuse of AI. And I feel like in that profession, they were really blindsided by it. And I sort of see that as a goal. I don't know what the impact is in the library, but I think it's something we need to really be aware of and think about how we want AI to be used, you know, for the services that we give to the public. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and there's been quite a bit of talk about this. You know, and staff are slowly working on a procedure. So we could have a continuing ed on what staff are working on and things that we're looking at. And that's like a low hanging fruit, measurable goal, but I don't know that meets it doesn't really answer the concern.
So I think this is separate from what the kind of the point of failure issue that Peter was bringing up, but I do think this is also a worthwhile goal. It's easy also because you're already doing it, but the goal would be by the 1 year mark, you'll have a procedure that's in place, that's been worked on and thought through, plus any policies that you would recommend to the policy committee.
Yeah, I'm happy to add that that's already in the work, so we'll be done. But I also don't think it addresses what you two are talking about. So I want to put something in here because you're asking me. I don't want to tell the board no. I'm not going to do what you tell me to do.
It doesn't have. I think there could be some further conversations that don't have to be a goal, because you do all sorts of things that aren't written down as goals that are good for the library. So it can be.
And this also came up a bit when the policy committee was talking about the fact that, you know, the previous versions of one of those policies that's going away said that annually the library board sets goals.
Yeah.
You know, and really the way that this has happened in my 8 years here is that the board has set goals through the strategic planning initiative, and then they set annual goals for me, like the director do this. But maybe there's a bigger discussion about, you know, what the board wants to see and needs to do in conjunction with me.
I'm happy to retract any desire for an additional goal.
I know Sarah's listening. I'm sure she has thoughts.
As soon as you told Peter it was going to be his goal, he suddenly backed away. But I mean, I think it's worth saying as a board or saying as somebody who's on the personnel committee, what could we do to argue that department or any other department at the library does deserve more money from our partners?
And for this one,
how could we do a better job? Because obviously this year it didn't go through, but I'm not sure what our argument was. They just said we don't have money.
We made the ask, and I know in Louisa there was, we don't have money. If you can find money to assist, then we can
we'll
do
think
this.
about it. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a good point from Brandy. From our reaction from all 5 jurisdictions wasn't that like, oh, you all don't need that. It was, we're not adding any new positions, period. For funding. It had nothing to do with like the importance of it, because it was the personnel committee's top request was for this specific position. But one of the things that we're doing, Sarah and I are meeting tomorrow with this AI for VA group, and we're working this summer on a project for some of those specific tasks that we were talking about, is just freeing up space capacity in her position. We're working with this group throughout the summer. We'll be able to present their findings, and either way, either great, we've got some solutions we can use, or this isn't going to work. And then when we talk to our funding partners, we can say, look, here's something we tried. You know, we went to try to automate these things, and here's why we can't do that, and we need this thing. So whether or not this is a goal, I mean, this is paramount importance to the library system. So.
Well, it's important, I think, for us to hear that you're working on it in these various ways, you know, all the ways that you can.
I did hear two good takeaways on a continuing ed about security and backups for IT assets, and then a continuing ed on JMRL's response to AI. And I think the one you're thinking about was Barry from the state, and it was just like a survey that the state library did about attitudes in public libraries about artificial intelligence, and he reported on that, but it was not specific to what we're doing at all.
Right. And I don't think, I think the reality is so different now when it's upon us. People's attitude is not as relevant as what we're doing about it.
Yeah, there's less choice in the matter.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. Good notes.
Where did you get that $1 million?
Make any movement on the.
Oh, right.
We'll get a lot
On your goals.
If the board wants to have a vote on it, that's fine. I'm going to work on those things and report.
But just to be clear, I think we added a number 4. Is that correct?
Number 4 was a goal for AI procedure in any policy by this time next year. Yes.
Okay, I move that we accept the goals as proposed for the library director and amended for the library director.
Thank you.
Oh, you didn't say anything. Are you?
I don't think we need a vote, but that's fine.
So he abstains.
Yes, thank you.
Doesn't do unnecessary voting.
I will be the first to admit this is a moving target. So
Yes, this is true.
Okay.
Did you actually abstain? Yes, okay, thank you.
first time for everything, Sue.
Just want to make sure you have it for the minutes correctly. Thank you.
Steps back.
Let's see. Our nominating committee, go ahead.
Refresh everybody's memory about.
What are we voting for?
So Randy is willing and able to step up as president, and Martha is willing to serve as vice president.
You all have us.
Thank you both for volunteering.
And everybody else accepts that, right?
That's right.
All in favor?
Aye.
I will abstain from this one,
Okay.
only because of some aspects of the process that I'm unclear with.
Got that one. Okay, so. Congratulations.
Yes. Moving her. I have one interesting question. When I'm in Google and I say trustee president, it says your name.
It never updated, huh?
It never updated. So you just need to maybe update it one more time and think.
Yeah, that's it's a known Google thing.
It's a known Google.
We're moving it on and it's going to get worse. It's going to stay.
It's just gonna get worse.
Yeah. I'll talk to Jeremy about it.
If it's possible, I don't know. I just didn't. Then I just type in your name, but I don't know.
It's an alias, really. It's not its own mailbox, and it just goes from person to person.
But it'll always be Tony.
Yeah.
This reminds me that I will need to change president. Just if people email
just forward
president
it to you.
JMRL, it comes to me.
You need to get
So
on.
you get some spam, yeah. Yes.
Okay, one thing that didn't get remarked on in my prioritized goals was the bookmobile being added to that, and that was on my mind. I was hoping to, at this point, next year be adopting a budget that would include funding for a new bookmobile, but I'm afraid that time might arrive faster than that. So, a couple weeks ago, the bookmobile's check engine light goes on, like they do, goes into the service of the city of Charlottesville, and they informed us that it was only, I think, 9 starts away from going into a fail-safe mode in which it can't go more than 5 miles an hour, which severely limits the ability to provide bookmobile service. We're adding Green County services this fiscal year, and I don't think we can wait any longer. This is a 10-year-old vehicle. The problem with it is idling mileage on it. When it stays at a stop, it runs air conditioning and electronics, and so it puts more miles on than are actually on it. Again, we hope to make one more year, but it looks like we're not going to be able to. So the Friends Board met on Thursday last week. I had an initial conversation with them about support for buying a new vehicle. The one that we currently have costs slightly under $150,000 10 years ago. The pricing now looks closer to $250,000 to $300,000 for a full service bookmobile in 10 years. So the Friends voted Thursday night to transfer $100,000 from their budget over to the bookmobile fund at the Charlottesville Area Community Foundation, which in the past would have been enough to take care of this, but that's just, part of what's needed there. So they're kind of seeding that. There were already $12,000 in that fund that were donations. When the advisory committee for the CACF meets, so now we know that vote on who your officers are next year, it will be our president and vice president. So it'll be Martha and Brandy, myself, and the Friends president and vice president. And that's going to be Wendy Wheaton Craig and Lynn. I'm trying to remember who the vice president was they voted on. So at any rate, and we'll meet with the Lynn Fleming. We'll meet with the treasurer for the Friends as well to decide on CACF projects for next year. And this. So that's what's going on. I didn't cover this in the prioritized goals, but this is something that, if it had happened next month, it would have jumped to the top of the list. But
the last time this came up, I made a similar comment, but I'm going to throw it out. In the world of homeowners associations, there's something called a reserve fund where you amortize, this is going to happen in the future. The roof is going to fall off your clubhouse. So you are HOA world, you're required by state law to amortize and have this fund that gets built up over time, and then it's there when you need it. I know our budget is complicated and I don't understand all the ins and outs, but it seems to me it would be a prudent type of approach if it were possible to have some sort of amortization, build up over time.
Yeah, even just to know, to know what things happen. So this could have happened 5 years ago and it would not meet that schedule, but 10 years seems about the right time for it.
You aim for the.
Yeah, I agree. Better planning moving forward.
But that would run afoul of our 5%.
Yeah, we're not allowed.
It would have to either be with the community foundation.
Have the Friends do this.
Yeah,
Possibly. But
we can only carry over so much of our operating budget. Equipment budget, we can carry over more. So I think there are systems that we could put in place that would help with that in the future, because we also need a new van for the library system, which we didn't purchase this past year. We're looking at a dip in revenue for equipment moving forward. But likely the van is going to have to make it another year because there's going to be this expense for a bookmobile.
Yeah, so just some way of smoothing that out, those spikes would be great if possible.
Speaking of tremendous amounts of money, the Central Library Project. So as we know, both the city and Albemarle County are dedicated to funding next year for an architecture and engineering project, which is a substantial amount of money. It's almost $2 million there. Right now, they're working on a memorandum of understanding between those two bodies about project management. Likely the city is going to handle project management for this construction project, which is good. They're the ones who do the work on it after the fact. I will mention that there's some language in the draft that I saw of this MOU that talks about both orgs helping to assist JMRL in relocating operations during the construction. But it was left unclear as to who's responsible for those costs. They were worked into the original 2016 design plan that the Friends Commission, that JMRL has been working off of, that this entire process has been built off of. But they haven't been explicitly agreed to by the city or the county. So we're working through that now. I'm going to be meeting with city folks tomorrow. I'm bringing this to the board's attention because if JMRL has to absorb those relocation costs and the cost for renting a space for whatever the life of that project will be, it's going to be sizable. And that means that the fundraising that we're planning on now, talking to the friends about, which is for nice finishes, and we want this extra thing that's not part of the project. Some of that might have to go to these operational costs during the year there, which is not as glamorous to fundraise for, but people, they want the library to work for them. We can have a full agenda item when there's more information. I'm just putting this on your radar now that that's not a done deal, that those two bodies would agree to pay for a third or fourth space, depending on what we end up doing during the construction. All I know at this point. Any questions about that? I'm sure this will come up more.
On the original plan that you put most of the collection. I'm just wondering if it's similar to like the UVA.
Storage.
You put most of it in storage, but then you open like a smaller space at the Jefferson School or something like that, where it's owned by the city, and so.
I mean, our biggest problem is where
Yes.
we're taking administrative offices
Definitely.
and put them so they can function for a year, 2 years, whatever.
This is you both nailed it, right? We're looking for some place to offer library service in the downtown Charlottesville area because they're going to be without their library for a year or however long it takes. But then, just as crucially, we need a home for administrative. Sure, some of that might be work from home, but some of it is 18-wheelers bringing in 40,000 books a year that are coming into Central now and being distributed throughout the system.
So they need to do.
It needs the place to receive, not just books, all the paper towels and all the libraries. Everything comes in centrally and gets distributed by our courier system. So figuring out how to do that, maybe that's the same space. That might be 2 spaces. One for an administration for a while and one for library service, boutique library services. We did this in Scottsville when they got new carpeting and a new desk for a week. We moved in.
Difference to scale here.
Yeah, well, I'm back at the bookmobile.
I think it'll just be a bookmobile and
Yeah.
for the central library.
Yeah, about 9 starts. I mean,
If it doesn't start.
Let me back up. So we had it towed to the dealership in Midlothian, and that issue's been repaired.
oh,
It's okay.
Oh, okay.
We're not picking the last 9 stops to have. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, it was repaired. It was not a tremendously terrible cost, but this was the kind of hitting the hammer on the nail to nail it in home. The last 2 years, the bookmobile has been off the road 34% of the time. So it's been in the shop. Not quite as much as it's been out, but like this, it was a good vehicle at the time. The only Sprinter van size vehicle you could get was this Mercedes, and then it's come with its own issues. It's harder to get parts for. It's harder to get the labor done on. So I think that the next version is going to have that bigger price tag, but also there are improvements in technologies would mean maybe we wouldn't have to idle as much because we could have separate electrical systems that are powered in alternate ways that would help run those things. But to ease your mind, the bookmobile is okay for now. Actually, it's in the shop today because the air conditioner broke. But that's a separate issue from the fail-safe.
from the engine. Yeah.
The engine's dying.
Yeah, I was thinking, you only got 112,000. You're talking about 250. Only 9 more stuff.
So we're going to pick very carefully which 9 places to visit. Okay, just a few things. Summer reading updates, great attendance at all the kickoffs, over 5,500 signups so far, around 3,000 people attended kickoffs. So you'll get a wrap up at the end of the summer. But we had a tremendous summer participation last year, and it's looking just as strong this year. you all, I sent out that VLA Library Trustee and Friends Forum, and that interest form is available online. So you all need to take action if you're interested in that. But I know that VLA is also working on a trustee track at the annual conference. I don't know if that's going to be this year or not, but they're really putting some time and energy into trying to boost up training and networking opportunities for trustees. One thing about that forum is that it's also open for the Friends of the Library. And I reached out and said, well, our friends we have an affiliate membership. So you're at JMRL, you can have a membership to VLA just by being part of this organization. And the state has opened that up to the Friends Board as well. So our Friends Board is likely also going to join that new forum. So if you have any questions about it, I don't have much more information than you all have, but it was sent out in an email and I think I forwarded it back on. So he's checking out. And finally, I'm going to be away next week and only back in the area for the first 3 days of the following. So if you need to catch me for anything this week, it's your best bet. That's all I have to report.
Other matters for next week. I got nothing.
David, you and I should probably schedule a technology committee meeting.
Yeah, it'll be a new quarter starting in July. So I don't know if that will happen before the next board meeting, but sometime in the next few months.
So do you want to just propose a time for that to me?
Yeah, sure. I'll send you an email.
Have any second thing? No.
No,
That's
for
future.
fun.
That's future. That's the future.
The AI security,
My head.
the AI security thing, something was mentioned.
I don't think that'll be ready for
Notary.
No,
July
next
because we're
month
doing
we're
the
talking
notary.
notary service.
Notary.
We're in CE.
I think maybe there'll be a second reading on all that.
I think that's the plan. Yeah.
All that. It's also on your annual calendar now that we'll do annually. I'll present to you all any updates to the employee handbook that have happened. We picked July for that. I don't think there have been any since the last time I did that, but it's just on your annual cycle now.
And David, we need to meet when you can come back in July and talk about our community central library group and how we want to go forward.
Sounds good. I'll send you an email. When are you back? Are you back next week?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Oh, you're gone.
Well, I'm gone. Yeah.
Mid-July.
One other thing for our new president, that the bylaws state that the president appoints committee members. And there has to be some shuffling because the president's not on any committees and we've got a new board member. So I'll reach out to you. There you go to personnel. There you go. So we need a new chair for.
We'll take a look.
So we'll take a look and then hopefully you can present something to the board about what to do.
I've been watching that thing that tells us how long the rain, saying the weather and rain coming.
Yeah.
All right, so are you handing over the gavel?
She's handing over the official ceremony. Yeah, she's so excited.
I think we have to adjourn first, don't you?
Oh, do you have to adjourn?
Flying Brandy to adjourn.
And it's.
I take over. Do I have a motion?
I have a motion to adjourn the June meeting of the JMRL Board of Trustees.
All in favor?
Great.
Thank you, Ann. Enjoy your trip.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Kalina.
Anita.